all starts in the mind. Activate your inner power. What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and the life you've been dreaming about ... is invisible? You can't touch it, but it shapes everything. Your income, your health, your relationships, your confidence. And no, it's not luck, talent, or timing. It's your mindset. That silent force behind every win ... and every failure. And here's the truth most people ignore. Your mind has been programmed, but not by you. Maybe you've been working hard, doing all the right things, and yet you're still stuck. You feel like you're missing something, like success keeps slipping through your fingers. But what if the real problem isn't what's happening outside, but what's looping inside your thoughts every day? Because until your mind is aligned, your life won't follow. This video is going to flip that script. No fluff, no hype. Just practical, proven, life-changing truth straight from the principles of Napoleon Hill. If you've ever felt tired of starting over, tired of feeling not enough, tired of wondering when your breakthrough is coming, then listen closely. Because today, you're going to discover how to flip the switch. You'll learn how to activate the power that's been there all along. And why real transformation doesn't begin with a plan. It begins with a decision. And that decision? It starts in your mind, and it starts right now. Topic 1. The power of an inner decision. Everything starts in the mind, but not with a thought. It starts with a decision. Not the kind you make and forget, but the kind that reshapes your identity from the inside out. When someone truly decides, it's as if the universe starts organizing itself around that internal command. Napoleon Hill motivation teaches us that the real turning point in life isn't external success. It's that sacred moment you say, enough. That moment when you draw a line in the sand. From now on, there's no going back. Think of the word decision. It comes from the Latin decidere, meaning to cut off. That means when you decide, you're not adding something. You're removing everything that no longer aligns. That's why decision is the first step of Napoleon Hill self-improvement. It's the knife that cuts through confusion. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop waiting for permission. You stop seeking comfort and start seeking growth. It's brutal, but it's also liberating. Let's be real. Most people don't fail because they lack information. They fail because they never fully decided. They made a wish, not a cut. That's why motivation, Napoleon Hill motivation, always starts with inner conviction. Imagine someone trying to swim across a river, but constantly looking back at the shore. That's what half decisions look like. You want transformation? Burn the boats. Turn your decision into your only option and your success into a necessity. A great example comes from history. A general landed with his army on foreign shores and ordered all the ships to be burned. No way to retreat, just one direction, forward. That's the energy behind Napoleon Hill's success mindset. It's not about reckless action, it's about removing retreat. If you're still debating whether you'll stick to the gym, build your business, or rewrite your life story, you haven't decided. Real personal development begins when quitting is no longer a backup plan. So ask yourself, what have you really decided about your future? Have you truly committed to your goals, or are you still entertaining escape routes? Napoleon Hill personal achievement doesn't come to the indecisive, it comes to those who turn decisions into destiny. From that first choice, everything unfolds. Self-discipline, growth, alignment, and confidence. But here's the thing. Even a strong decision means nothing without the fire to back it. And that fire? It starts with something deeper than choice. It starts with desire. Topic 2. Superficial want versus burning desire. Wanting something and burning for it are two entirely different worlds. A superficial want sounds like, it'd be nice if this happened. It's casual, passive, something you whisper when everything's calm. But a burning desire? That's different. It's the kind of inner fire that keeps you up at night. It's the engine of Napoleon Hill motivation, the reason people push through failure, rejection, and doubt. It doesn't wait for permission. It creates its own momentum. Here's the difference in action. The person with a shallow want starts strong, but fades the moment things get hard. The one driven by burning desire, they adapt, push, persist. That's Napoleon Hill self-improvement at its core, not surface-level motivation, but depth-driven transformation. Think of someone like Thomas Edison. He didn't say, "I hope this works." He decided, "This will work or I'll die trying." That's the kind of mindset that changes history and your life. If your goals feel like a burden, ask yourself, was it ever a true desire, or just a trend you followed? People don't stay committed to borrowed dreams. Personal development requires that your desire comes from your own vision, not someone else's expectation. Napoleon Hill personal growth demands self-honesty. What are you willing to struggle for? Not because you have to, but because you deeply want the reward on the other side. That's how desire becomes destiny. A powerful exercise is this. Close your eyes and imagine your dream already achieved. Now ask, what price would I pay to make this real? If the answer is anything, you're in burning desire territory. If you hesitate, reflect again. Motivation. Napoleon Hill motivation teaches that the emotional charge behind your desire will decide your endurance. Weak wants evaporate in the face of pressure, but burning desires, they thrive in it. They feed off challenge. Let's be honest, if you're still trying to want success, you haven't found your true why yet. Napoleon Hill self-discipline starts when your desire is so strong. You don't have to push yourself. You're pulled by a vision that won't let go. But here's the key. Desire isn't enough on its own. You have to know how to recognize when the internal shift is calling you. And most of the time, that call doesn't shout, it whispers. Topic 3. Recognizing the inner call to change. There comes a moment in every life where something clicks, or more often, breaks. It's not dramatic or loud. Sometimes, it's a quiet thought while you're brushing your teeth, or a sudden wave of heaviness in traffic. You realize, I can't keep doing life like this. That's the inner call. Napoleon Hill motivation teaches us to listen when that discomfort shows up, not to silence it. Because discomfort isn't punishment, it's a signal, a nudge from your future self. This call isn't always convenient. It might come during a crisis, after a loss, or at the height of success, when everyone thinks you're fine. But deep down, something's shifting. Personal development often begins with this inner whisper that says, there's more for you. But here's the catch. If you ignore it, the whisper gets louder, until it screams through burnout, anxiety, or breakdown. Napoleon Hill self-improvement means honoring the discomfort, not avoiding it. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't just grow wings, it dissolves, becomes nothing. That goo phase? That's the real transformation. Napoleon Hill personal growth embraces this chaos as sacred. Maybe you feel like parts of you are falling apart. That's okay. Something has to break for the real you to emerge. The call to change often disguises itself as confusion, fatigue, or frustration. But underneath that is a doorway to clarity, strength, and purpose. Here's something practical. Grab a journal and list 3 areas of your life that feel stuck or heavy. Don't filter, just write. Then ask, what belief, habit, or version of me needs to die, so something greater can live? That's Napoleon Hill self-help in motion, honest reflection that leads to bold action. It might be a toxic relationship, a self-sabotaging habit, or a fear you've been carrying for years. Identify it, name it. That's how you begin releasing it. Every great transformation begins with awareness, and awareness begins in silence. Turn down the noise, sit with yourself. Your mind already knows the answer. Motivation. Napoleon Hill motivation is about learning to recognize the inner nudge before it becomes a shove. But once you've heard the call, what do you do next? You rewire the patterns. Because even the strongest calling means nothing if the mind isn't trained to follow through. Topic 4. Daily mental reprogramming techniques. You can't just think your way into a new life. You've got to rewire it. Daily, your brain is like a field. If you don't plant intentional thoughts, weeds grow by default. Napoleon Hill motivation isn't about wishful thinking. It's about repetition with emotion. That's the only way to shift your subconscious identity. Most people try to change using logic, but transformation responds to emotionally charged action. And that starts with your daily mental rituals. Let's talk about affirmations, not the robotic kind. We mean powerful, felt declarations. Saying, "I am successful" with conviction, even when you don't fully believe it, starts programming your subconscious for personal development. Try this. Every morning, say out loud, "I act with boldness, not fear." Or, "Everything is working in my favor." Say it like you mean it. That's Napoleon Hill self-discipline in practice, using your voice to redirect your internal narrative. Now add creative visualization. Every day, close your eyes and see your future self living the life you want. Feel it. What are you wearing? Where are you standing? Who's with you when you win? These mental movies aren't fantasy, they're mental blueprints. Napoleon Hill personal achievement begins in the unseen. Athletes do this before every big game. Why shouldn't you do it before a life-changing opportunity? Motivation, Napoleon Hill motivation makes that your new standard. And here's the game changer. Rewrite your inner script. Stop saying, "I'm just an anxious person," or "I'm not disciplined." That's not your truth. That's a temporary story. Replace it with, "I'm mastering my emotions," or "I'm becoming the kind of person who follows through." Napoleon Hill self-help is about refusing to be defined by past patterns. Your self-talk is your inner GPS. If it's off course, no wonder the destination feels so far away. So build your reprogramming routine. 5 minutes of affirmations, 5 minutes of visualization, and 5 minutes of rewriting limiting beliefs. That's 15 minutes to rewire your destiny. Do it for 30 days and watch your energy shift. Napoleon Hill self-improvement isn't something you read once, it's something you practice daily. But even with the best routines, we need proof that this actually works. That's where real stories, both legendary and symbolic, become powerful mirrors of what's possible. Topic 5. Real and symbolic. Stories of transformation. Let's start with Oprah. She was born into poverty, faced unimaginable trauma, and was told she'd never make it in television. But something inside her refused to accept that narrative. She answered the inner call. That's the raw essence of Napoleon Hill motivation, a deep refusal to let your past define your future. She didn't chase success, she became it. Through personal development, Oprah built an empire, not because it was easy, but because she believed transformation was non-negotiable. Then there's Madam C.J. Walker. She didn't just become America's first Black woman millionaire. She built her fortune from nothing but vision and grit. She started with a small hair tonic business, but what truly made her rise wasn't the product. It was her mindset. Napoleon Hill self-discipline drove her daily, even when everything around her said, "You can't," and yet she did. Her story proves that personal achievement doesn't require perfect circumstances. It requires powerful commitment. And sometimes, transformation isn't immediate. Think about the Chinese bamboo tree. You water it for years and nothing happens. No growth, no sign, no proof. But in the 6th year, it suddenly shoots up 90 feet in weeks. Why? Because all that time, it was building roots. Napoleon Hill personal growth teaches us that the results you seek are often hidden underground, developing strength in silence. Just because no one sees your progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Maybe you're in your own bamboo season right now. You've been consistent, planting seeds of change, but the results feel invisible. That's where many people quit. But the legends, the ones who embrace Napoleon Hill self-improvement as a lifestyle, they know the power of unseen work. They keep showing up. They keep speaking life. They keep walking by faith, not by sight. And eventually, What was once invisible becomes undeniable. That's the reward of staying the course. So whether your story looks like Oprah's, Madam Walker's, or the silent rise of bamboo, know this: transformation takes time, but it also takes decision. And if you've come this far in the journey, you already know what needs to happen next. But none of this means anything without application. The miracle needs a method, the belief needs alignment. And in this final step, we bring it all together so you can start turning inner power into outer results. Conclusion: turning inner power into outer results. There's no transformation without decision, no miracle without mindset, no abundance without alignment. This is the truth that Napoleon Hill motivation has shouted for generations, and it's still true today. You don't need another book, another video, another piece of advice. What you need is a decision to act, a decision to become, a decision to stop living on autopilot and start designing a life that reflects your inner power. Right now, you have everything you need to begin. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide who you will be from this day forward. Napoleon Hill self-discipline teaches that action doesn't wait for confidence. Action creates confidence. So take that first step. Commit to the routine. Rewrite your inner script. Choose your vision daily. Your personal development begins with one bold move: showing up differently than you did yesterday. Think practically. What can you do today, right now, to lock in this decision? Start with 15 minutes of mental reprogramming. Speak your affirmations. Visualize your future. Rewrite your labels. That's how personal achievement is built, not with giant leaps, but with daily alignment. Napoleon Hill self-improvement isn't flashy, it's faithful. It's showing up when no one's watching. It's investing in your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You've seen the stories. You've felt the truth. You've been called. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with this moment? Napoleon Hill personal growth reminds us that change doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to energy, emotion, urgency. If you wait for the perfect conditions, you'll wait forever. But if you align your inner fire with outer focus, you'll discover the truth. Momentum favors the bold. So from this moment forward, let it be known: you're not trying anymore, you're becoming. You're not waiting, you're activating. You're not hoping, you're deciding. That's the spirit of motivation, Napoleon Hill motivation, turning invisible belief into visible reality. Now breathe, stand tall, and prepare. Because the final message in this journey isn't just a wrap-up. It's a declaration. A vision of the version of you who chose to change and never looked back. Final message. Picture this, 1 year from today. You're sitting in the same room, maybe with the same clothes, the same morning coffee, but you're not the same person. You feel stronger, clearer, lighter, because you decided. Not on some random Tuesday, not because someone else pushed you, but because something inside whispered, it's time. That was the moment everything changed, and you didn't even need a crowd to witness it. You didn't wait for perfect motivation. You didn't beg for signs. You chose to become the kind of person who acts without guarantees. And that single shift, it rewrote your future. You stopped trying to get ready and started being ready. That's Napoleon Hill self-discipline, moving with faith, not fear. And now, looking back, you realize it all started the day you took your mind seriously. The day you said enough. Enough waiting. Enough doubting. Enough shrinking into the version of you that the world expected. Because you remembered the truth. The mind is the master. It shapes your results, your reactions, your reality. Napoleon Hill personal achievement isn't something only the rich or famous discover. It's available to anyone bold enough to believe. And now you see it. Not just in theory, but in your story. A story that's just beginning. So as you step forward, know this: your future isn't built by chance. It's built by choice. Every thought you honor becomes a brick in your new foundation. Every affirmation, every visualization, every moment you override fear, it all adds up. That's motivation, Napoleon Hill motivation in motion. You don't need anyone's permission to rise. You just need a reason. And you've already found it. It was inside you all along. Now breathe that in. Own it. Say it out loud if you have to. I decide who I become. And remember, your future isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for a decision. A single quiet yes that echoes through time. So say it, and say it like you mean it. Because in the end, it all starts in the mind.